Good morning and welcome to the Department of Elections press briefing for Election Day 2024. This is the first of 3 press briefings that we will be providing throughout Election Day. I want to make sure, and first off the bat, to thank our local election officials who arrived at their polling places at 5 a.m. this morning and had them open for voters by 6 a.m. In Virginia, we have some of the most experienced election officials in the country. They have already conducted 2 statewide elections this year and have provided 138 days of early and election day voting for Virginia voters as of today. As you know, Virginia is unique in that we have elections every year. This means our election officials have a great depth of experience in handling issues that come up for voters at the polls. For our briefings today, we are going to have 3 throughout the day to ensure that members of the media have multiple opportunities to ask questions. Each of our 3 briefings will include real-time updates and relevant information for voters. Our follow-up briefings after this one will be at 4 o'clock this afternoon and at 9 p.m. this evening. At the 4 p.m. briefing, we will provide an overview of our election night results reporting on our website and what you can expect once results start getting reported. To go over some numbers right now, we have a record 6,374,437 voters are registered as of November 1st. As of this morning, 2,305,439 Virginians have already cast their ballots through early voting. Of those, 1,861,938 were cast in person, and 443,501 were returned by mail. Of the mail ballots that are still outstanding, there are 126,266 mail ballots that have yet to be returned. Those who are voting absentee by mail must have those ballots postmarked on or before today, November 5th, and they must be received in the mail by noon Friday, November 8th, in order to be counted. For same-day registration, we already have 16,557 same-day registrations, and obviously expecting more today. If you have not already done so, we encourage voters to go to vote.virginia.gov to check their polling location before they head to the polls. On our website that is available, you can type in your address. We're going to have some more information for you about our resources in a moment. For some specific issues that we're aware of this morning at the polls, in Precinct 310 in Richmond, this is the Gilpin Court precinct, there was an issue with election workers handing out federal-only ballots. I believe that happened to 11 voters. That issue has since been resolved. And other than that, I think we're going to move into our presentation and start with that. Oh, I think I hit the wrong button. Okay. We just wanted to run through for everyone some of the resources that are going to be available on our website for individuals who want more information about the election. As we said, first we have our front page here. It's going to have the results as soon as they start coming in at 7 o'clock. This will be the place to go for that. If you would like information about your particular voting record or voting information or where you go to the polls or where you're registered, you can always use our citizen portal to look up your information. Again, this is the polling place finder where you type in your address to find your polling location. You can find your general registrar's office here by using the drop-down menu for your county or city to find where your general registrar's office is. And then we have provided this year some extensive backgrounders that talk about the elections process, including before you vote, when you vote, and after you vote. Some of the topics on the before you vote includes how we recruit and train officers, what we do to ensure accessibility of polling places, how we protect against cybersecurity threats. When you click on each topic, it has a drop-down that gives you more information so that you can learn about that topic. The What Elect Does When You Vote talks about how we issue ballots to eligible voters, how we secure ballots in machines, and ensuring, again, voter accessibility. And then finally, after you vote, discusses how we conduct the canvass of votes following the election and has information about how we certify the election. So with that, I am happy to take questions from the media. So we do not have information on same-day registrations that have happened today, but as I said, leading up to today, so far we have 16,557 same-day registrations that have been submitted. We obviously expect that to increase today, throughout the day. In terms of security and concerns about security, we have been meeting for many months with our state and federal law enforcement partners to plan for today. We've had several meetings where we've run through various scenarios to make plans. I can't speak any further to specifics, but there's been a lot of planning and forethought that has gone into today, and we're very confident that we're going to have a safe and secure election in Virginia today.
Julie Carey, could you please unmute yourself and ask your question?
I do not have a question. Thank you.
Regarding the local Richmond issue, can you say what the resolutions were that we were told some people actually put?
Hi, I have a question. Travis Lawler with the Associated Press. The
Hey,
11
Travis
voters.
Lawler, can you hold on a minute? We haven't called on you yet. There's someone that's asking a question in the room. We'll get to you in just a minute.
Oh, I see. Okay, thank you.
Sorry, what the resolution was for the Richmond issue, were all of those voters being given the correct ballot? And then just regarding those unreturned outstanding mail ballots, I know you said mail-in was your biggest concern in USPS. Have you gotten a sense about how quickly the mail-in ballots that you've gotten so far, the amount of time it took to go from mailbox to registrar? Have you seen anyone with mail-in ballot to drop it off rather than use the mail?
I'm going to take the second question first. It was about mail-in ballots and if we've seen issues with folks returning them. I think a lot of folks have chosen to do a drop-off at a drop box or at a registrar's office. We have seen an increase certainly in that method of return. We have not heard specific examples of people having delays in getting their mail back. Most voters are being very diligent about checking and making sure that their ballot has been received, which they can check online and see that it's been received by the office once they mail it back. We have seen an overall decrease in the number of people who have requested absentee by mail ballots this year as compared to 2020. But you can't necessarily attribute that to just this issue. 2020 was a very different time, and a lot of people requested mail ballots because they just didn't know what to expect on election day that year with the pandemic. So it's hard to, make a causation there. On the Richmond issue, like we said, it did affect 11 voters. They were able to only vote a federal-only ballot, but that has since been resolved. They are not allowed to vote an additional ballot.
Travis Lawler, you're up.
Yeah, I guess I was just wondering about the voters in Richmond. Do you know what happened? I mean, or why that happened?
My understanding is that the officers of election gave out the incorrect ballot to the voter that had only the presidential race on the ballot.
Again, just to clarify, when you say, what do you mean by resolved? As in, like, no more wrong ballots are being given out?
That's correct.
13 News Now, do you have a question?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, in the wake of the voters who were removed from the polls or from the voter rolls due to the citizenship issue on the DMV forms, when they go get their provisional ballots today, if they do same-day registration, what do they need to do to successfully make sure that provisional ballot is counted? Is there any follow-up they need to do?
First, in Virginia, we want every eligible voter to vote in this election. And when an individual fills out a provisional ballot, they fill out a registration form. So they would simply need to fill out the registration form accurately. If they are a citizen, they would indicate that they are a citizen, and that's all that that would require.
Speaking of the purge voters, there was a House D&E meeting that you attended back in September. If I remember correctly, you talked about an accuracy percentage on what you believed the system would catch. Were you guys aware of legal citizens getting swept up in the purge as early as September, or when did you guys first realize that legal voters were also getting removed?
So let's be clear. We want every eligible voter in Virginia to vote. This is a process that has been in place since 2006. It has been managed and processed the exact same way by every administration since 2006 when the law was enacted. Nothing has changed in the way that that process is managed by the department. And it begins when an individual walks into a DMV and self-declares that they are a non-citizen, and there is direct interaction with the individual throughout the entire process. They start the transaction, they are notified multiple times before they are canceled and given the opportunity to affirm their citizenship if they made an error at the DMV.
Jeff Bossert with Radio IQ, do you have a question? Michael O'Connor, do you have a question?
Yeah. Do you know how many people were kicked off the rolls leading up to today? Is there an updated figure? And can you just confirm that this is Susan Beals? The audio was just cut out, so I just want to make sure it's you.
My name is Susan Beals. I'm the Commissioner of Elections for the Commonwealth of Virginia. And in terms of, go ahead.
Yeah, just do we have an updated figure for how many people were kicked off the rolls?
I think the figure that has been out there is the figure that stands. There has not been any additional work done on that.
Okay, I thought there were daily updates to it.
That process ceased on October 14th.
So no one's been purged from the rolls since October 14th?
The last time that records were sent to registrars was October 14th.
Michelle Hankerson, do you have a question? We can't hear you. Okay, I'm going to go to Megan Pauley. Do you have a question?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah, we can.
Okay. Just to follow up, just to clarify, so the October 14th, can you explain, that was the last time, what did you say exactly? And if you're hearing from anyone this morning about, people who've had their registration canceled, if people are reaching out to you.
So again, every eligible voter in Virginia, we want them to vote today. If they have any issue with their registration, they can do that at their polling place through same-day registration. That is available to everyone who is an eligible voter in Virginia. To explain the process of what happens at the DMV, an individual walks into the DMV as part of their transaction. They self-declare that they are a non-citizen, either by checking a box that says, no, I am not a citizen, or by providing legal presence documents that indicate they are not a citizen. That information is sent to the Department of Elections. We compare that list to the registered voter list, and then we send those records to registrars for them to process. The registrar sends a notification to the voter by mail and says, we have information based on a DMV transaction that you made that you've indicated that you are not a citizen. We are giving you 14 days in a form to affirm your citizenship. If they return the form, nothing happens to the voter. If they fail to return the form after 14 days, they are sent an additional notice where they are advised that they are being canceled because of non-citizenship status. Anyone who is canceled for non-citizenship status and feels as though it is in error can go to their polling location today on Election Day and same day register to vote and cast a ballot in this election.
Okay,
Luca
and if they
Powell?
show up today, oh, sorry, just to clarify, if they showed up today, would they have, what documentation would they need to provide in order to do the same day voter, if they felt like there was an error?
They would need to provide the same kind of ID that every voter needs to provide when they come to vote in Virginia. There's a list of acceptable IDs that includes everything from a driver's license to a utility bill.
Luca Powell with the Richmond Times-Dispatch, do you have a question? Okay, going on to Patricia Beckford. Do you have a question? All right, that wraps up everyone on the teams.
And just to clarify regarding October 14th being the last day of that daily purge, my memory serves me correct, that was before the court order paused it, and there's obviously been days since the Supreme Court rescinded the pause here. So why was October 14th the last day if the executive order said to do daily?
So we stopped prior to the last day of to October 15th, which is, I think it was the close of books, perhaps, last day to register to vote in Virginia. And so that sort of naturally, that's normally when we close out our list maintenance practices.
Rick Yarborough, do you have a question?
Yes, I do. Can you confirm if any DOJ observers have arrived at local precincts, and if so, which ones, and if any issue with them being allowed inside? Just wanted to get an update on that.
Yeah, we have not heard any information about that today. All right, thank you very much, everyone. We'll see you again at 4 o'clock.